Nah, they do.
Well, it looks like it might be working on YouTube. We'll
Okay,
see.
well, good.
So I was trying to set up our restream like we have with 10K, but it kept saying that we weren't a verified account, and we are a verified account. So I'm like, I don't know, but it looks like it started streaming on our BBC's channel. So hey, uh, let's see here. How do I see the chat? Here we go. Chat is here. So this is our first time streaming live on our YouTube channel. We'll give everybody a chance to come in. Put your city and state in the chat so we can recognize you. Put your city and state in the chat so we can recognize you. Also, put a 1 in the chat if you helped or if you completed the Black Blockchain Consultants member survey, because that is the discussion. Put a 1 in the chat if you completed the survey. That is a great part of our discussion this evening. We're also going to talk about some current events as well that I saw in the Knowledge Center and I saw in the Wall Street Journal. So it's officially 7:33. So let's get started, everybody. It's Wednesday. You know, if it's Wednesday, it's Blockchain Day. So welcome to Blockchain Chat. I am Cherie, and this is Black Blockchain Consultants, where we are all about the business of blockchain. So we are on a mission to help 1 million Black people get involved in this $3.1 trillion industry. That's us finding blockchain jobs, starting blockchain-based businesses, investing in the blockchain, whether you're investing time or money in a project. And ultimately, again, this is going to be a great wealth transfer happening over the next decade, $3.1 trillion industry plus. I honestly believe that those numbers are low. They were forecasted a couple of years ago. So, you know, we want to figure out how we can get our fair share. And that is the whole point. Want to welcome our first YouTube live streamer, Dunamis, in here. Nice to see you, Dunamis. Welcome. We have a whole bunch of people in Zoom tonight. We have Bronx, New York. We have Los Angeles in the house. We have Oregon in the house, LA, Charlotte, North Carolina. So everybody, thank you so much for being here. All right, so let's talk about some current events, and then I have a presentation with regards to how people are going to potentially be able to win within BBC, the results of our survey, some of the things that we're thinking of. And ultimately, I just want to get feedback from all of you as well. So before I do that, I want to have all of the officers, because it's very rare that all of us are here, but all of us are here tonight. They really want to find out what your thoughts are with regards to the survey. So they decided to pop in this evening. But I'm going to start with Talisha here, our tech guru.
Hello, I'm Talisha Shine. I am the Vice President of Blockchain Consortium International and also a member of the Inner Circle. Been here from the very beginning when we were 25 or 20, 30 of us at that point in time, very early on. So it's been an interesting journey thus far that we've gotten to 2020 here and what's coming.
Yeah, and we have over 200 members. I looked at our numbers today. I was like, wow. So, so Tawana.
My name is Tawana Rivers, Chief Operating Officer of Blockchain Consortium International. And, you know, like the rest of the panel, been here from the beginning. Cherie had this amazing vision and we believed in it and believed in her. And so, you know, we started this organization so that we could educate the community on blockchain. I mean, we know the buzz that was happening all day today. It's happening, it's coming.
We're gonna talk about it.
Option is near, and we're here to educate the masses. I mean, that's the ultimate mission that we've got to remember and get back to. You know, that's why we're here, so that we can teach our people about this technology and all of the benefits, so that we are not once again left behind.
Dr. Keisha?
Hello, Dr. Keisha here, Dr. Keisha Waddell. I am the Chief Training Officer of Blockchain Consortium International, as well as the Executive Director of our Center for Blockchain Studies, the education arm of BBC. And I'm I'm so happy to be here with my whole team. I was just going to say, I'm going to take a little screencast right quick, screenshot, the whole team. But listen, I just want to welcome everybody to a blockchain chat tonight. This is a really special night with all of us here together and the news going on with what's going on with blockchain technology as it relates to Bitcoin and what that means for us in terms of a community, because it's bigger than Bitcoin. It's we'll get into it.
Yes.
It's an ideology.
So I also see on YouTube on Crypto with Lionel saying I finally caught a live stream. This is our first time officially live streaming on YouTube. We've been doing blockchain chat for 3 years now, and yet we had not ever live streamed on YouTube. So welcome though, welcome Lionel. Eric.
Yes, Eric Spence, President of Blockchain Consortium International, also a BBC Inner Circle member. Love this team, love being a part of this group, and love having the discourse and having these kind of discussions. Other than that, I just be talking to myself, and that's no fun. So I just love being here with us so we can carry on these kind of conversations. I look forward to this. So yeah, happy to be here, everybody.
Well, it's funny because Dr. Alonzo Sexton was here a couple of weeks ago, and he said if he didn't have BBC to come and talk to, then he would have to talk to his wife about it, and she's tired of hearing about blockchain. So it is kind of a way for all of us to come together and I call it geek out in the most non-tech way over what's happening with blockchain. So we definitely want to welcome everyone here. So the big news from this morning, I saw it in the Wall Street Journal that Bitcoin reached a new high over $20,000. What does everybody think about Bitcoin and all of the buzz? And is it kind of thought, I kind of thought this morning, oh goodness, when I remember it was $3,600, like 8-9 months ago, I should have bought more. You always have those thoughts though, but I'm curious, what do people think about that, the big news?
Well, I'll jump in just to say kind of what I started to talk about. I always think about, since we've gotten to really understand what underlying and what drives Bitcoin, it's quite a developed world perspective for us to be following, the rise of it and whatnot, which is awesome when you have it, that's for sure. But the thing we really want to keep in mind is that, the real reason behind and the real utility of blockchain technology is its ability to have a whole economy apart from what's going on in our economy. In countries where their dollar is unstable and all those kinds of things, they really understand the value of being able to have a peer-to-peer transaction, where you can transfer money just like we transfer email right now or information. That's the real value of it. But sure doesn't hurt to be somebody holding some Bitcoin right about now. And we do. But don't ask for any money. So yeah, it's exciting. It's exciting on all fronts, understanding the technology and the power of it and just having people recognize it now. So maybe we will have somebody else to talk to now, Eric, and all of us.
Yeah. Well, yeah, because every time there's a new high, then it goes on mainstream media, and then your phone, you get text messages, you get people emailing you, etc. So, one of my other co-hosts, what do you think?
I mean, I'll jump in, knowing how volatile it is, and we've been on highs before, it doesn't stop me from being excited today, right? Mm-hmm. I am a hodler. And so it's just going to be interesting to see what happens. There are a lot of forecasts that says this is the year and, 2021 is going to be the year where it skyrockets. We'll see. It's fun to sit back and watch the progress, again, as it makes the mainstream news. People do call. I got 2 calls today. Don't you do something with Bitcoin? So people start to remember that you've talked about this before when it's in the news. And that's yet another opportunity to educate people. So it's all quite interesting and exciting at the same time.
Anyone else before we go to our second story, which is tied into Bitcoin as well? Go ahead, Talisha.
I say I get the calls no matter what. I get calls every day. So yeah, that's nothing new. I did get a surplus of them earlier today. As if I don't have the same app that everybody, it goes up and everybody's like, it's up. I'm like, I can see it. Thanks. I don't really need a play by play, but thanks. But I think the interesting thing now is that the conversation takes on a new flavor. I think now people are kind of understanding that there's a mechanism, because they want to know now how. Before it was just like, oh, it's just fake. It didn't have a lot of substance to it. Mm-hmm. And now there is the next question. I'm getting that, like, so what happens? Like, where does this come from? They're asking further questions that make me think of like, oh, now you're interested because you want to know the beginning and the end. You want a little more, what I consider meat to that bone. You mm-hmm. want to know how this works and the longevity, because now you've been hearing it just enough. Now you know it's not a fad. You want to kind of get a little more, I would say, a cursory understanding into what the crypto is. So now we're getting those, what I consider those crypto curious people. They're not only just, like, oh, I just want to know what it is. I want to know, how does it come to be?
Yeah. Go ahead, Eric.
I'm just going to say, listen, this is one of the great days, because I'm going to tell you, few things are as powerful when it comes to communicating anything is something that was once pronounced dead and coming back to life stronger than it was before. I keep this magazine. I don't know if y'all can see this. Mm-hmm. This is Bloomberg from 2018. And see that? You see that crap? See, so what you have is a lot of people who in Wall Street, in the global financial, who said, oh my gosh, this is vaporware, it's going to zero, it's going to this and that. And for us, everyone has been a part of it. See, we have been, for the most part, front running this ahead of the smart money. So now they're coming in going, oh my goodness, oh, it's really happening. Oh, I guess there is something to this. And now we're going, yeah. Well, we tried to tell you, but you kept, fighting us for the last 3 to 4 years. And now they're kind of going, now we start to see them wrapping their heads around it. And also not just wrapping their heads around it, but also taking really large bets now on it and putting real money behind it now. And to me, I think that for everyone listening to this, everyone who holds Bitcoin, is involved in crypto in any sort of way or capacity, I think you should feel you should feel validated. Period. You don't but you should, because listen, you were right and they were wrong. And that's what it is.
I think it's funny. Every day, like today, I've seen the most compare and contrast of statements. This is where the social media will bite you in the butt.
Yes,
proof of what you said. It wasn't just in a small room. So there were so many on Twitter of what was said in 2017 or 2018 and what was said a couple of weeks ago, side by side by the same person. Extraordinary, because it's almost like you did a whole 180. You're like, no, I wasn't. And they're trying not to say they're wrong, but it was like, well, I misspoke. I maybe exaggerated, or maybe I didn't fully understand. So it's always very interesting to see what you said and what you say now is very different. And we're polarizing a lot of different communities based upon that whole, what it was. And now today became a whole different story.
Right. So
yeah, there's a lesson in it though, right? There's a lesson about misspeaking, right? Or sometimes you just got to sit back and watch things unfold before you give your opinion on them. That premature opinion can bite you in the butt often.
Well, I think it's interesting because you're talking about, institutional investors or people who are celebrity investors. They're always asked their opinion, number one. So number two is look at what they do and not what they say. And the greatest example of that is Jamie Dimon, who was saying a whole lot of stuff, but behind the scenes putting money in. So I do also want to say hello to YouTube. I see Complex Design. I see Charlotte in there. This is our very first live stream on YouTube, so we're excited. We've been doing Blockchain Chat for 3 years. We finally decided to live stream. Keisha saying I didn't get my notification. Oh, I'm sorry. You have to get on our email list. So
Come on, Keisha.
Email me, info@Black Blockchain Consultants. Thank you, Keisha. We're going to be ramping some stuff up in 2020, at the end of 2020 for 2021 as well, so that we are able to connect with you a lot more, get you inside Zoom so you could have chats with the other members. So the second thing with Bitcoin, and this is just going to be a brief second because we're already at 7:47, is Mass Mutual decided now for them, they put in a small amount of their portfolio, but they put in $100 million into Bitcoin. We're starting to see these institutional investors really, step up and put big money in as well. And it'll be interesting to see who's next and how prices are going to shift and change, and all sorts of things within Bitcoin and within other cryptos as well. Dr. George Fraser, we interviewed him through 10K Project a couple of months ago, and he talked about Ethereum. So while we're watching Bitcoin, while the world is commenting on Bitcoin, while the mainstream media is commenting on Bitcoin, there are many of us who could afford a whole Ethereum or whole Ether. Buy one and sit on it, buy two, buy three, while the prices are still kind of reasonable. Now, this is not investment advice. Say that, CYA, not investment advice. But, if you're looking at, oh my goodness, I wish I owned Bitcoin when it was, $100. Well, there are some other opportunities out there within the crypto space. So I just wanted to mention that as well. So the final thing is something that I saw in Flock. Richard put it in here about the highest price ever being paid for an NFT, non-fungible token. An NFT digital art collection was sold for a whopping $777 a few hours ago. Let me see if I can
A lot of
make it big. A whole lot of sevens. I'm going to actually share my screen here so you all can see this. So this is what Richard put in Flock for us. So even NFTs are starting to get some steam right now. Stuff like this is going to start creeping into the news. So this is the most expensive NFT that is out there, non-fungible tokens. And that's one of the things we're going to be talking about as well, especially in February for tokenization month within BBC. So wanted to point that out as well. Eric, I know you have something to say about that news.
No, I mean, this is what we're going to see. We will continue to see this expand further and further out. We will continue to see NFTs begin to eat more and more of the traditional art world, of all of IP itself, whether that's music, whether that's any kind of intellectual property. We will begin to see this application of blockchain begin to take it over. And like I said before, and I try not to use the word, but it is like where tokenized IP is in the trillions. I mean, this is going to happen, and what we're looking at happening right now is the rewiring now of finance. And what really, to me, always gets me very excited about this is, see, this didn't happen with the central bankers like huddling up, going behind the scenes, kind of doing the Jekyll Island thing, and then coming back and saying, "Hey, look what we created. Now we're going to roll it out." No, this is actually being built from the ground up with everyday users, and that to me is the most exciting part of it. Just to see how this is going to transpire. Because the unpredictability of that, to me, is the most exciting part of it. So I expect to see it expand greater and greater and greater. I really do.
Yeah. So I am going to show my screen for a second, and we're going to review our Black Blockchain Consultant Survey for the end of 2020 and looking at 2021. And then from there, we're going to have a conversation about how we are moving forward within BBC, what some of your thoughts are. This is more of a conversation than it is like me dictating or any of us dictating up here what's going to happen. But these are some of the things that came up from the survey and some of the decisions that we're looking at as a leadership team. So let's talk a little bit about Blockchain Consultants 2021. What does the future look like for us? This conversation, we're going to talk a little bit about our mission again, just realigning that, what we've accomplished thus far. We did a survey. We're going to show you the survey results. You asked and we'll provide. We have some things that we're thinking of doing, how we all can win as BBC members, and then wrap it up with a summary and a Q&A. So our mission again is to help 1 million Black people find blockchain jobs, start blockchain-based businesses, invest in blockchain projects, and build wealth from this $3.1 trillion industry. When we first got started with BBC, we asked what was missing in the marketplace. There were a lot of people at the time teaching crypto. However, there weren't a lot of people, especially a lot of us, talking about the business of blockchain. There were people talking about social justice and using blockchain for that. But again, there weren't a lot of people from our community talking about the business of blockchain. So that was the area that we carved out for ourselves. So 3 years ago, BBC started, and like Talisha said, and actually all of the co-founders here, I distinctly remember the day I posted in a forum, in a Facebook forum, hey, is anyone interested in learning how to become a blockchain consultant? And I thought only 4 or 5 people were going to show up to the meeting. 30 something people showed up to the first meeting. And then the second meeting, more people showed up, 40 something, then 50 something people showed up the following week. And I said, okay, well, there must be something here. Do we want to come together and do something formal? And so many people said yes. And that was how BBC got started. We've been doing blockchain chat for that long as well. In 2018, many of you may remember we had our conference in Baltimore. It was phenomenal conference that we had. Yeah. This past year, Dr. Keisha led Simba Chain training, which was phenomenal. She actually came up with it. She put it together. I looked up and next thing you know, people were in the sessions and y'all were learning how to do smart contracts. This past year, I was also interviewed by a Forbes journalist who said, I had no idea there were Black people in blockchain. We've had other press as well, but the truth is we need to be out there more. Our presence needs to, and not as BBC, but just as Black people in blockchain, we need more of a presence. We have interviewed Bitcoin Zay and other influential guests over the past 3 years. Anthony Pompliano came to visit us one day. Eric, interviewed him. And now look at how big he is. He's on CNBC, et cetera. People have come to BBC in order to spread their message and in order to network with us. And influencers want to network with us as well. In my LinkedIn today was a message from a senior official at Deloitte who said, I'd like to talk to you about BBC and what you're doing over there. So we are at a point in blockchain where people are going to start looking for us because the adoption is coming, not just the Bitcoin adoption, not just the crypto adoption, but also blockchain adoption. So we've talked about this before. Put it in the chat if you know what this is. Let's see if anybody knows what this is. Put it in the chat. Open up my chat here. Does anyone know what this is? This curve here? Oh, no one's putting it in. Okay, it's Rogers bell curve. Rogers bell curve. So these are some of the things we have to to talk about more often. This is Rogers Bell Curve of technology adoption. In the very beginning of any tech that started, there are innovators. These are the enthusiasts. And then you have early adopters, and then you have early majority. And there's a section here called the chasm. And at this point is where billionaires are created. Billionaires and multimillionaires are created. And we are very close to getting here with blockchain. What are some of the things that has needed to happen with blockchain in order for this to happen that we're starting to see in blockchain? Does anyone know? Does anyone know some of the things that's needed in order to get to early majority and mainstream adoption?
Are you asking the panel or the community?
Say that again, Dr. Keisha?
You're asking the panel or the community at large?
I was asking the community.
Oh, yeah.
Richard is saying developers, not quite. Developers help this issue, but interoperability was one of the big ones I was thinking. Talisha may have another one as well, but interoperability definitely within blockchain has been one of the big hindrances of the adoption and the adoption life cycle.
I would say a use case that was simplistic, a simplistic use case that could really bolster and just break it open would be another one that we would have to have to make that chasm really shorter.
Absolutely. So these things are starting to happen. That NFT that we showed earlier today, that's getting us closer to it. Interoperability, people have been working on that problem for the past few years now. That is starting to become, that is starting to be solved. So we are at a point now where the money is about to be made within blockchain. Put a 2 in the chat if you feel you're ready for the money that's coming. Put a 3 in the chat if you are not ready. If somebody came to you today and said, I need a consultant to do XYZ, whatever your niche is, your major is, put a 2 in the chat if you feel prepared. Put a 3 in the chat if you are not ready. We have people saying 2, we have people saying 3. Okay. A lot more 3s, but some 2s. Okay. I personally am not sure that BBC members are ready for mainstream. I don't think we're ready. And some of that came from the results of the survey. I'm going to go over some of those with you. If you feel like you're ready, great. There are some of you who probably are ready based on what I saw in the survey, but many of us are not. And I think that there are some things that we can do within BBC to get you closer there. So our primary focus for 2021 is to figure out how we can get as many people ready for mainstream adoption of blockchain as possible. So here are some of the survey results. On a scale of 1 to 5, 5 being best, how would you rate your BBC membership? Grateful to everybody who gave us a 5, grateful to everybody who gave us a 4. We had some 3s, we had a 2, we didn't have any 1s, so grateful for that as well. But we wanted to know, we want to be as close to 5 as possible for all of our BBC members. So then looking at the next question about your income goals. 42% of you said you wanted to make between 50 and 100,000, 15% between 100 and 200,000, and 18% over 200,000. Some of you aren't looking to make any money, and some of you are looking for less than 50K. If I'm looking at people who want to make 50,000 to over 200,000, it's 77% of BBC members. 77% of BBC members want that. So then the next question that we asked is, have you selected a major or a niche? For those of you who are new, some of you are in our YouTube who are new. What is a major? In college, during freshman and sophomore year, you usually take general studies, your foundational classes. Then in junior year, you usually pick a major. So that is our own way within the inner circle of saying, finding a niche. 60% of us don't have a niche. So if I'm looking at this strategically, I have 77% of people that want to make over 50,000 a year, and I have 60% of people who don't have a niche. This is the reason why I said I don't think we're ready for mainstream. I want to stop right there and open the floor. I'm going to also look at the chat. I also am going to stop sharing my screen. I have more to talk about, but I want to stop right there. And I'm also going to go into YouTube as well to see what's happening there. But I want to get a feel from people. What do you think of what we have discussed so far? Because it's pretty heavy.
I'll jump in and just say that the numbers are very revealing. As with any survey, obviously the more people that complete it, the better analysis that we can provide. And so I would say to everyone out there watching who's going to watch it later, complete the survey, right? Because that was 38 respondents. It doesn't represent the entire inner circle community even, right? Because we said earlier, there's 200 people in the inner circle. So we need those 200 voices to be heard, or at least over 50% of those voices to be heard, so that we can truly assess readiness, right? And then also, in addition to assessing readiness, assess how can we assist with readiness, because ultimately readiness is in the eye of the beholder, right? It is your responsibility to own your readiness. How can we assist with that? Because we are not ultimately responsible for it.
I wanted to encourage folks, if you're already, been following us all this time, I actually would say that you're probably a little bit more ready than you think, because I know we've provided a lot of support and a lot of resources that you can go to, and you're likely to know, certainly at least within your own, profession, you have a perspective that you can bring to your present employer or something like that. I think we just need to take that time to, again, as we've been saying, focus on that niche and find your major. And that's what we mean when we say that. And one of the big deal things that you didn't mention, Cherie, that was really valuable about our group is that we're not developers. Most of us are not developers. And so the perspective that we're coming from is, the business of blockchain and how it applies to whatever your professional area that you already have spent your years in already. So, just don't make it harder than it is. I know if you're like me, or you love to learn and you're just taking it all in and it's a lot and you feel overwhelmed potentially. But the way we can focus on that major is to really hone in on what we already know once we understand what the benefits and what makes you blockchain unique and how that fits in some of your existing workflows and understanding of what it is you already do. So
I'm sorry.
I was just say there's a good question in there, Talisha, when you're done, from Denise.
I would say I've spoken to a lot of you. You've reached out to me either through, our Facebook group or through Flock. And I've kind of had the same kind of conversation with you with regard to where do you want to begin? I think this is going to how do you narrow down your niche? You start from where you are. That's the very first thing. I said, if you're not in a technical role, it's really going to be very difficult. And again, we don't really particularly hone in on that. So a lot of you just come in like, I have to know everything blockchain. There is no such thing. So you have to really understand, what do you want to do with it is the question that I always kind of pose to you guys. And you say, well, I don't know. I'm like, well, what did you want to do with it? Is that really that basis to start it off with? Again, I come from a very technical background where I do need to be that person, not only from a technical perspective, but to see the business models that can potentially arrive from this. And so I'm trying to meet you where you are, but at the the same time. You got to come knowing something. I said, I think you think of it as a subject matter. And I always kind of give you the analogy like a doctor. You got to tell me what you're trying to practice. You just can't say, I want to be an MD. What do you want to do? Do you want to be an oncologist? Do you want to be a podiatrist? Do you want to deliver babies? Do you whatever. I need something to start you with. And again, it's always best to just see where you are. And even the things that you want to do. Like some of you have some really interesting perspectives that I think really deserve that time to be fleshed out. And it's not like you have to know everything. We're really retrofitting things back into this because we don't know what we don't know. This is brand new stuff. Some of this is not even built. And I always say this is the possibility before the tangibility. You have to think about it from a technical perspective. I can build anything you want, but you got to give me something to start with. So that's that. You got to give me the model to say, okay, this is what I think it should look like. And then I can give you something on the back end. But if you don't know, I'm going to be that tech person that kind of just stares at you like, whenever you're ready, you let me know what you got. And so the conversation really is about what rather than the how to do it, because we can tell you how to do it and it's always going to be there. The tech is already built. You got to come up with the fresh new ideas.
Yeah, and there is a place, I think, for a generalist, right? Because there are general practitioners, right?
Yes.
So there's that, that person who knows a little bit about all the components that can put them together and then connect you to the people who are the true SMEs, right? And can make the business happen that way. Because those people are necessary as well. You oftentimes need that connector, that resource in business. And so if you haven't fallen in love with any one particular thing yet, consider that generalist approach.
So I'm going to answer the question from Denise, and I also want to answer the question from Franklin in YouTube, or the comment from Franklin. So Denise is asking if there's a tool to narrow down your niche in blockchain. Talisha did talk about it. What's your past experience? We've had people and have people within BBC who are animators who want to do blockchain animation. We have a woman who has done government contracts for X amount of years. I said, great, right? Be a government proposal writer for blockchain projects. You know how much money she can make with that? I was like, do it. So what have you done for the past decade that you can translate to a blockchain type of position? Some of you may decide that you like tokenization or smart contracts or some other feature within blockchain. You can decide that as well. So those are really the two paths that you have to go. I will say that part of what you are asking about, we have a partial solution for that, and that's our mastermind sessions that we're starting up again. It's going to be the 4th Monday of every month at 7:30 p.m. Eastern time, 4th Monday of every month. And it's during those sessions that you'll be able to ask questions, and we can drill down a little bit more, and we can figure out if we can easily find a potential niche for you. Franklin is saying, I feel, and this is in YouTube, I feel that the problem for a lot of Black people, many are late to the party regarding tech. With blockchain, we're not late. That's the whole point with blockchain, is that we are super early. How do we get more of our people in early, especially with 2020 being the year that companies are looking for us? I was just on the phone with, y'all know my retired military officers group. I stay with them because they are the most connected people I know. They came to our internal meeting because the parent company of Giant Foods, wants to do business with us. Okay? There are companies out there that want to do business with us. And guess what one of our members said? Hey, what about blockchain? Okay, so I'm saying that there's a lot of opportunity out there. So
let me bring up that point that you're talking about in terms of that opportunity. That opportunity can be, adjacent to, because we recognize too that there are other technologies that that, give utility to blockchain, just in the same way that, the small transistor made, smaller everything so much more available. So we got things like Internet of Things. I know we have somebody in our group who's involved in virtual reality and data analytics. All of these kinds of things play into blockchain too. So it's not an isolated way to think of it. Once you actually figure out once you learn what the benefits are and what's unique about it. So, keep that in mind too. You bring something already to this space, this new space, and you are early. You're early enough to even your concerns about it. You can be that person to come up with some solutions, or at least start looking for people who are working on those solutions, and you can lend your ideas there. So that's another awesome thing about being where we are with this. And as Cherie said, being Black people where we are with this,
I also want to just mention the tech. This is what, we keep talking about tech as if it's a one thing, meaning that you program. Tech is not programming. We have to really expand that definition. I have been in tech for over 20 years. I don't program every single day. That's not my job. There's a whole host of technical positions that really speak to trying to get something built and to actually deploy it. So that comes from project managers to data analytics to individuals who truly do the hardcore writing of the business requirements to then translate them over to functional specs. All of those people, they're really not technical in that sense. They are at a technical position, but they're not hard coding the code. So I think that's another thing we really need to, that's that scare tactic that, oh, it's tech, I got to stay away from it. It really has nothing to do. It's really a skill set, and you can learn that with regard and use whatever you're doing in your current job to do that in a technical environment. So if you're a project manager, it doesn't matter if you're a project manager for something that's ubiquitous, it can also be very much used in a technical arena for that purpose of building blockchains and building ancillary things that go along. I think the biggest thing we need to do is think outside, because at this point, business models are about to change. We're not going to do business as ever that we're ever before. It's like the status quo is seeking out very much to look to do something different because they know it can't survive right now. So the best thing that you can do from a technical perspective is understand how business models work and see how they can be maneuvered and mismanaged and taken apart so that they can be grouped together. As we always give that analogy of the Legos, we have to dismantle the Legos now and build a brand new thing. That's where we're going to make the biggest bang, is because everything has to have a business model. Because again, you got to think of something before somebody builds it.
And you know what, you bring up a good point too.
I'm sorry, Dr. Keisha. I need to finish up because yeah, otherwise we'll be here for another 2 hours. And I do want to get to this section about what we're going to hopefully be doing, but we need everyone's buy-in, or enough people's buy-in, in order to do this. So the question we began to ask ourselves is, how can BBC help you reach your income goals? There were 4 main things that came from the survey that you wanted, and this is in order of importance. Mastermind sessions on starting and growing your business was number 1. Very, very, very close behind, I think a point difference, was hands-on training with creating smart contracts, tokenizing assets, etc. Number 3, more demos. That was a little distant, but still close enough that I feel like enough people want more demos. And then number 4, Zoom sessions where we can network with industry influencers. So I'm going to break down some of the thoughts. My little genie here. So you asked, we'll provide. And again, this is based on some of the feedback that we get this evening. So I'm going to start with the demos and small networking sessions first. So 1 to 2 times per quarter, most likely during blockchain chat on Wednesday evenings, we'll have a demo. Last week we had, oh my gosh, Decentology. Come on, so we'll do demos 1 to 2 times per quarter. Small networking sessions. I also received a LinkedIn from the CTO of blockchain.com, saying, hey, just reaching out. People are looking for us. So you all know my saying, it's not what you know and it's not who you know, it's what. Put in the chat. Y'all know this one. I say this one all the time. It's not what you know, it's not who you know, it's, wait in the chat, see who puts it in. Who knows you? Perfect. It's who knows you. If you want to get your income up in blockchain, in the blockchain space, it's who knows you. So 2 to 3 times per quarter, we'll try to have sessions on Zoom. It's going to be limited to about 10 people, first come, first serve. But we'll say such and such a person is coming to do a Zoom small networking session with us. It'll be for members only. So if you're not a member, this is a great reason to join. But you may say, oh, I really want to meet this person. I want to find out what they're doing in blockchain. Maybe you've researched them and they are somebody you can help. You may just want to know, like I do with my military officers group. I want to know who they know, just in case I ever need these people, right? So most likely these will occur during the daytime. Some of them may be at night, but most likely they'll occur during the daytime. But this is a chance for you to increase your network. Then the mastermind sessions. On the 4th Monday of every month at 7:30, we are committed to having monthly mastermind sessions. This is a time for you to get unstuck in your businesses. So Talisha will be there most of the time, if not all the time, to answer any tech questions that you have. And I'll be there to answer business questions. We may also bring in, somebody who has grown 7- and 8-figure businesses, depending on where people are in the process, to answer questions as well about how to add operations to your business, how to become a 7-figure consultant or 6-figure consultant, etc. But these will be the opportunities also, if you're not sure what your niche is or what your major is going to be, for you to come and talk about that. Someone else asked, Kay asked, how can we find out what everyone does within BBC and network with them? This will be the opportunity, because these will be meetings where everybody hopefully will be on screen, on camera, and everyone goes around and says, this is what I do within blockchain, etc. And then we'll have people on the hot seat in order to help them with their businesses. And the last one we did was really, really successful. And then the final thing we'll have is hands-on training. The first thing that we're working on is the tokenization experiential training. So there is a difference between a masterclass and experiential training. A masterclass is where somebody who is an expert comes and they speak to the masses about whatever they're an expert on. So we've seen Oprah, for example, in her masterclasses. Experiential learning is where you actually use the tool or use a tool in order to learn how to do something, learn how to do a task. We're doing experiential learning here. So Dr. Keisha is leading this right now. Eric is working on this as well. We're speaking with a couple of tokenization platforms. We're going to decide on one that is going to be the basis for this experiential learning. We're going to develop 3 scenarios. So one of the scenarios may be, hey, here's a piece of art. Let's tokenize this piece of art. We want you to put on your consulting cap. You get to ask that artist or the owner of that art questions so that you can practice your consulting skills. You'll get to tokenize that asset. And by the time the class is finished, which will be about a 3-month period, you would have tokenized 3 different objects or things, etc. We're coming up with the scenarios right now. And you'll have a portfolio to share with prospective clients and employers. So this is going to start on March 1st, 2021. and it's expected to be 3 months. We're also going to do one around smart contracts. Last year we did SymbaChain. We may do SymbaChain again. We may do another platform. Dr. Keisha will work on that, and that's going to start on June 28th. And then blockchain security is going to be October 25th. So those are the 3 experiential learnings that you're going to have access to this year. And again, by the time the classes are finished, you'll have a portfolio of experiences that you can share with prospective clients and employers. Within the survey, we asked how much you would be willing to pay for something like this. There's a lot of work that goes into creating these experiences. There are companies that charge thousands of dollars for this. We could do it cheap or we could do it well. If we are to help you get to where you want to be with regards to income, we can't do it for $50. It's impossible for us. So we are asking you, and we want to have a real conversation with you before we put in all of this work about what is a reasonable amount for you to pay for these experiences, and what do you see on the other side of that with regards to your earning potential within blockchain. Because we want the experience to catapult you into a profitable blockchain experience. So how do we win? How do we win as blockchain consultants? I believe it's access. We have to have access to people that are in the industry that could use our services, et cetera. We have to have knowledge. Now, something Dr. Keisha said that I have to disagree with a little bit. She says, you're farther than you may think you are. I'm going to say, and I'm accused of this as well. Can I wake up at 3 a.m. and somebody asks me what blockchain is, and I can explain it to my 80-year-old grandmother? If we aren't able to do that, then there are certain fundamentals we need to go back to, and we haven't been doing a lot of those things that I think we need to go back to. If we don't know, where we are within the industry with regards to where we need to be in order for mainstream adoption to happen, we're going to have clients who don't know anything about blockchain, and they're going to come to us and say, well, what is this? We have to be able to articulate it in such a way that somebody feels confident that we can do their smart contract for them or tokenize their asset. I've been a business plan writer for a decade. You can wake me up at 3 o'clock in the morning and say, Cherie, how do you write a business plan that a bank will fund? And I could spit it off. Tawana has been in HR. I'm sure if you ask Tawana about compliance and HR law, 3 o'clock in the morning, she can wake up and she can spit it out. We are not going to be able to make 6 figures and 7 figures in blockchain without being able to spit out these answers. I believe that we have a ways to go, but I don't believe it's impossible. I think that there are certain things we need to identify for us to be successful. And then we need experience. And that's where the experiential learning comes in as well. Put a 4 in the chat if you agree with me. Put a 5 in the chat if you think I'm crazy. It's okay if you think I'm crazy. I'm not gonna, not gonna hold it against you. You can disagree, and this is an open discussion. I will say in conclusion, the time for going mainstream is now. For blockchain. Over the next couple of years, we're really going to see mass adoption, I believe, in the enterprise level. That's where the real money is going to be. To win, I believe we got to speed up our learning. Number 2, 60% of members within our survey have income goals but don't have a major. We need to be better. We need to be at least 80–85% of people with blockchain income goals with a major for us to win. In order for us to win, we got to focus on experiential learning. We have to start digging deeper, and we have to focus on building our networks. And then an investment is required. An investment of time and money is going to be necessary for us to become the best blockchain consultants in the industry. Notice with this, I did not put the best Black blockchain. I want us to be the best in the industry, irrespective of ethnicity. I want people, so within business plan writing, I have people calling me like, Sherry, I don't have anybody else to call. Please do this business plan for me. The way that you get to 6 figures and 7 figures in blockchain is for people to say, I don't know anybody else who can do a smart contract but you. Please do this for me. And I got 40 other people who need smart contracts as well. That is how we win. So I'll offer membership if this sounds great to people. You can come to blockchainstudies.tech. You know, I'm going to open it up for Q&A. I'm going to keep this slide on here so you all can know that you can come to blockchainstudies.tech. I'm going to keep it up here for a couple of minutes. And I'm going to open it up to the panel. I see a lot of 4s in here as well. So thank you for letting me know I'm not crazy. And Tawana's laughing at me. I see that. So
you see some laughter. I just wanted to encourage everybody that, you know, not to say that we had it all together by any means, but just by the fact that you are someone who is an enthusiast, you recognize that this is something that that's accessible to you with more experiences. I just wanted to encourage you on that. And the other point I wanted to make before we tried to get finished with the presentation too, was that this is not a millennial thing or a age thing. Just like Talisha had mentioned before, if you're someone who really understands your industry and you might be a retiree, you might be really clear about the issues that are going on in your business, you know, whatever industry you were in. It's those kind of things that we can potentially look at, as Talisha mentioned, and wrap this new tech around, and you can be that solution person. So that's the kind of way I wanted you to think about it. That's what I meant by, you know, don't be so intimidated, you know, because obviously it could sound like, oh, you know, I'll never be ready kind of thing, but, you know, it's a work in progress. We start with where we are. So welcome for those who joined and those who are sticking around, because we need all hands on deck. You see this tremendous plan. I'll be reaching out to you big time.
You know, like one thing that I did want to say is, you know, as you heard Sheree use the term experimental, you know, learning, what learning through experience, like I will say that is a critical component to success in this industry, is being willing to experiment. When, you know, earlier when I talked about us like front running this, you know, I was talking primarily then from an investing standpoint. Well, I'm going to tell you from an innovative standpoint, we're also front running it from that side too. So you most of the time will be that person who, as you dig deeper in and, you know, become even more skilled and more depth, you will then, whether you're going to your company or whomever, and as you're looking to apply blockchain applications there, you know, you'll be the person who's the front running doing that. Most of the time it won't be, you know, this other agency that kind of comes in and, you know, they have this long history. No, it will be you. Like, you will be that person. And I do want to say, we want everyone to be successful, and we're willing to really put in the work to make sure that happens.
Yeah, I'll just add, we're willing to put in the work alongside of you. Again, we can't want this more than you want it for yourself. And that last bullet is very telling, the investment of time, even more than the money, the investment of time that it takes to be a consultant, a trustworthy advisor to others, right? You know, that's what consultancy is. And so, and if we're going to be the best, we've got to put that time in and that dedication to it. It can't be a fly by, you know, night kind of excitement about it. You have to jump all in if you want people to trust you with billions and millions and quadrillions of dollars, right? And that's the goal, right? You want to get a percentage of those kind of dollars.
I'm going to piggyback on that, but I'm going to take it further in the sense there is an investment of money. you can't get around that in the sense that I didn't get here by, reading a few Twitter tweets. I have invested in my education into blockchain, from certifications to conferences to books to speaking, doing the one-on-ones that are in the thousands of dollars with a person for 25 minutes. I've taken that as my role to be able to provide information to you. So it's like, we're not asking you to do something that we ourselves aren't willing to do, because since I've been here for 4 years in this space, I have spent enough money to truly understand, like, this is something that I had to do in order to be in front of you and have this conversation with you.
Good
The
point.
final thing I will say, well, I won't say final, but membership may be going up. Dues may be going, it may not be 2021, but we offer a lot, and some of you are still on the $60 legacy plan. So, we are, we're moving in a different direction with regards to where we are in the market and the impact that we want to have. And I want to have all of the Deloittes reaching out to me or to Dr. Keisha or to Talisha saying, we got to get in the BBC. We know if we get in the BBC and we get in front of your members and we need XYZ, the Deloitte person's looking to recruit. They're looking to recruit, but we have to, if we're going to have Zoom networking meetings with these individuals, we have to be on our game. We have to be on our game. So we have to be at the top, and not just top as Black, but top period in the industry. So so members, everything is on the table with regards to pricing.
Yeah, I'll just add, Cherie, for the community, this is an evolution of this company for us as well, right? This is year 3. So as an organization, we're looking back to see what's worked the last 3 years, what hasn't, right? And really saying, what does the future look like for Blockchain Consortium International and Black blockchain consultants as a whole? And so, as we're figuring that all out, it's going to enhance your experience, but it's also going to come at a different price, because a lot of things that we do now, we've given a lot of information away for free. And we've loved doing that because that was the original mission, right? Educate as many Black people as possible. That mission doesn't change, but we know now, after 3 years of doing it the way we've been doing it, that we've got to think of some other ways to reach those million people. And sometimes that takes a little bit more effort from a monetary standpoint, and again, the time. So, just remember, this is a business and we are evolving as the industry evolves around us.
So Kay is saying, yes, you are correct. My first paid blockchain job was handed to me. Absolutely. Absolutely. But it was handed to you because the person felt like, hey, she knows her stuff. Whatever she doesn't know, she's going to be able to go out there, find it, have the resources, know where to get the information. And we have to move from being what I'll call green or beginners to moving to being intermediate and never super advanced. I never want to say that, but in the intermediate where people are like, yeah, you know what you're talking about. And, if you don't know it, you know where to get the resources, where to get the people, etc. So that's where we're moving. Other comments, concerns. If you have concerns, you want to talk to me one-on-one, that's fine as well. If you want to be anonymous in your concerns, we'll figure out a way for you to be anonymous. But we're looking for the results, and we want to be the Harvard, Howard, Spelman of the blockchain industry. The other thing I will say, and I know it's 8:35 now, is our people in the next decade are going to lose millions of jobs due to AI, due to robotics, and due to blockchain and other types of technology. we are also going to need to be a beacon of light for those individuals where 6, 7, 8 years from now, they'll say, oh my goodness, thank goodness I found you. You know, I feel it in my heart. Like, yeah, a lot of people are closed-eyed now or just trying to get past the pandemic or all of that. But there's going to come a point where a lot of people are going to need our help. And we want to still be here at that point.
Yeah, and I know for some, it feels like the world is standing still this year, but trust me, it's not.
It is not.
goodness.
It's
Everybody
accelerated.
is still working, exactly. They're still working. They're putting resources behind it. Saw a video the other day on social media where there was a cart delivering food to someone. It was a robotic cart rolling down the street to someone's house to deliver. And a man who videoed it just happened to be driving by and saw this cart going by itself and followed it. And it went to an apartment building where the man came out and the gentleman in the car said, you know, did you have something delivered? And the guy came out and he was like, yeah, it was my first time I tried it. He punched a code in that he got on his phone. Once it got to his address, he opened the hatch and took his bag of food out. It was amazing to see. And so it's like, wow, you know, and that car just rolled down that street. It took a couple of blocks, made some turns. I mean, it was amazing to watch, but the world is moving, right? COVID didn't stop the world from moving. People are still in the manufacturing plants building things and programming things. I mean, it's still all happening.
And the biggest thing
and,
that I wanted to
complex
bring out
is-
too is that reimagining things is what was going on. So again, that doesn't cost you anything. Well, just to sit back and really think about it, reimagine things, you know, dream again, get back human again, and tap into the creative piece in you. And like Talisha's been saying, we can wrap the tech around it. So come with those fresh ideas. I'm sorry, Cherie, go ahead there.
I'm sorry, Dr. Keisha. Complex Design and YouTube is saying that's what he does, or she, I'm not sure of the sex. Micro transport is what that's called. So yeah, so yeah, micro transport. So yeah, autonomous vehicles, all sorts of stuff is coming down the pipeline, and our people are going to be affected the hardest. And the experiential learning, I also potentially foresee us being able to, you know, help college students with this and high school students and say, okay, here's how you prepare for these types of jobs, you know, that are going to be available. So people who are laid off, etc. So that is it. That's all I have. Again, I'm looking forward to other, you know, anybody else who has anything they want to say to me. info@blackblockchainconsultants.com is my email. Also, if you want to get on the email list, info@blackblockchainconsultants.com. And
complete the survey if you haven't already.
complete the survey. Yeah, that's in your emails. So the link is at your emails, but sorry, it's within your emails. But yeah, that's our discussion for today. And next week is the 23rd. We'll still have a blockchain chat next week because that's not quite Christmas Eve. So, alrighty then, we'll see everybody next week.
Good night.
Same time, same place. Good night.